My mission in life has always been, how can I help? I only have one health, and I've lost my parents of cancers and heart problems and all that thing. And I wish what I knew now that I knew then, my parents will be still alive. But so that's the title is health mistakes you don't want to make, and sometimes people just don't realize that. A little bit about me. Some of you know about it. Deepak, you may have heard from my sister, but I've been a pharmacist for over 40 years. My journey started when my mother got sick and she wanted me to take care of her. So I became a pharmacist, and my mother realized I've been such a good pharmacist. I turned around 55 years old, and I'm on about 11 different medicine, including gout and cholesterol and depression and sleep, acid reflux, a few other things that I may be missing. And I could not work for 6 months because I had severe depression where my whole body was shaking and I could not work. And I said, how come I got in this position? Me being in a medical profession, I'm smart. I think I'm smart as a pharmacist because that's what people trusted me. And I said, something is wrong here. And I took my journey into naturopathy, Ayurvedic, and all the things. And it took me about 7 years to really understand that I need to really detox my body, clean my filters of the body. And when I did that, it took me about 1 month just to do what I'm just talking about. But to find out all that thing, it took me almost about 5 years to find that. And once I did that, and then I followed it, all my pills and all my medicine's been gone. And it's been over 4 years. And I think my memory has gone even better. I have a better memory. I have a better energy. So that's my journey from sickness to wellness. And as my mother had told me that, when you live your life, when you have a mission in your life, so I was just sharing with all of you my journey from sickness to wellness. And that's why I started the business called Simple Healthy Living, because if it took me about 5 years to figure it out how to get well from sick, and it just took me about 1 month to figure it out how to detox, cleanse, and all that thing. And I'm going to share at the end how I did it. So I'll just go through that so you are exposed to what I've done as far as getting my health. For me, success has been in my areas of relationship, in finance, and my health, and all the things that really had to take a lot of effort. And, it was something that I really worked on it. A lot of people said, oh, I'll be successful when, versus saying, well, it's a non-negotiable. I'm going to get my health well. No matter what, whatever it takes, I'm going to divorce all the medications because I was not born with it. That's not a normal protocol for a human being to live with medicine, which I think as we get older, people think, oh, that's how it is. We have to be on medicine. I'm 60 years old. So blood pressure and diabetes is normal. And that's what we see now, but it's not normal. It's that we don't know how to keep ourselves healthy. And I'm going to talk about that as I keep moving into it. Feel free to stop me and ask any questions you guys have. So just talking about today, why do we make health mistakes? So I'm going to cover that a little bit more in details. 3 top health mistakes that will cost you. How do you come back from these mistakes? Like I did come back and living healthy lifestyle. Damini Ben had gone through my 1 month program of detox, cleanse, and everything else. And, I'll have her say a few things at the end so she could tell what helped her and how has it been. And health tip to start today, I'm going to give you something that you could do right away. And at the end, I'll just have a question and answer. So let's talk about why do people make health mistakes? So when I had all this problem with my acid reflux and gout and all that thing, I used to go to different doctor. I used to go to arthritis specialist. So too much information and they're so conflicting on internet. You just Google it and say, hey, what can I do for gout? And, you'll have so much information. The one thing we really miss is our body is unique. We are not a cookie cut person. And, when I go through people's health and all that thing, I make sure that they are doing good. So there's a lot of conflicting informations. And then, I used to talk to a doctor. And one of the things that I learned, which is in one of the book that I would recommend people to read called Life Force. by Tony Robbins. And he said he took about 1,000 people and they were sent to a primary care doctor and they went to 4 different doctors. By the time they went through 4 different doctors for different informations, only 14% of the patients had the same diagnosis as they had it. So these are good doctors. So imagine 86% of the people had a different diagnosis and different treatment, which way they started with. So even if doctors are making mistakes, I always go for second or third opinion when it's really something important to my health and all that thing. And I just went to a doctor, and I'll tell you what happened. I went to one doctor and they just did my routine exam that they do it every year. That doctor missed out that there is a trace of blood that's coming in my urine. And one of the doctor that I went, because I went to another doctor, I said, just take a look at it. He said, this needs to be really checked out because if there's a trace of urine and you are 67 years old, you may have some prostate markers that needs to be checked out. And that doctor missed it, right? And I'm going to get that done. So why I'm telling you that if you don't stay in charge of your health, and time to time you do not really check it out, and always good to go to different doctors rather than just sticking to one doctor. So that's what I'm basically telling you, that you have to. Okay, let's talk about myth number 1. Well, I'm so skinny, so I must be healthy. Look at me, I'm so skinny, right? But I used to have a big belly. So my visceral fat, I'm talking about the fat around here, was really bulging. But I'm skinny, overall. So I'm skinny fat. And it's very dangerous because the visceral fat is the most dangerous fat. And then I'm going to just talk about that. What can you do to eliminate visceral fat? And, I'm going to give you statistics around that. So it's the fat around your belly, So what happens with that fat is that fat is basically puts a pressure on your organs. It's not that flabby fat that you could see around your love handles and all that thing. It's the fat around that belly. It puts pressure on heart, kidney, gallbladder, liver, lungs, everything that's in that area. This areas of your body puts pressure on your vital organs and it jeopardizes your health. So that's why the visceral fat is, a lot of people just don't know about superficial fat versus visceral fat. So if somebody says I'm fat, it's okay to be fat, but visceral fat, it's really not what you want to hear. So let's talk about dangerous of visceral fat. Heart disease, Alzheimer's, loss of memory, type 2 diabetes, stroke, high cholesterol, blood pressure, inflammation. How many people do you know within your family, including you, who has some or multiple of this? Probably 1 or 2 that you know of. And it all starts with your visceral fat. And so if somebody has that, make sure that, look into that. Now, the food that causes you to have a visceral fat. So trans fat, which are found in meats and dairy as well in this deep and fried and processed food. This fructose, sweetened fructose corn sugar, right? Which is in sodas, candy, and other foods. So you want to definitely avoid those kind of a food. And I just, put in some pictures so at least when you want to reduce your visceral fat around your belly, you want to basically cut it down so that, your things go down. I used to weigh about 170 pounds when I was about 7 months pregnant with my fat. That's what my wife used to tell me. And I lost it all because I cut out all those foods. And how do you, so steps to removing the food is one thing. Make sure that instead of moving around every hours, just have some movements. Keep moving. That means do some sort of exercise, whether it's yoga, pranayama, walking, resistance exercise, whatever you have to do. Just keep moving. If you move around, you're going to burn a lot more fat. Eat smart. What do you mean by eat smart? So I tell everybody, and this is maybe you guys may want to take a note on this one. So, just take a note, write it down on a piece of paper from morning till you go to bed, every food that you eat. After you write it down those foods that are water rich, like fruits, they are water rich. Salads, that's water rich. Smoothie, that's water rich, right? So write down the foods that are water rich, write down the foods that are processed, and write down all the things you eat, including water, coffee, tea, and all that stuff. And if your food is about 70% plus, which is water rich, fiber rich, nutritional rich, and macronutrient rich, like selenium, zinc, magnesiums, and all that stuff. That means you're eating smart. When I took that test, which I want you or everyone to take it, when I took that test, I was around 40%. I was eating 40% and 60% was not that good food. And I changed that to around 70 to 80% and I started losing fat. It's a simple formula, just food that's plant-based, whole food diet, and you won't go right. Another thing is, why do we eat things that we know that we don't need to eat, but we still eat it? It's stress. So whatever you have to do to manage your stress, if you have to see a psychologist or you have to get some family helps or whatever, deal with the stress, because I had to really deal with that. When I was sick, as I was just telling you about my journey, I was extremely sick because I was stressed out with whatever was going on with my life. And I really had to go through counseling. I had to go to psychiatrist and psychologist. And I did whatever I had to do. I had to ask for forgiveness from my family, including my wife and my two kids and people who have heard it. And when I did that, I think everything makes sense. If you do all of this together, I think, you will see a big change in your health. So let's talk about the risk of waist. So women who have a 32-inch waist, they are really healthy. If it's below 32 waist for women, and if women have 37 and up, you start getting an all healthy region. So make sure your waist should be around 32. For men, their waist size should be around 35 to 36. And they started getting 37 to 43. What happens is then there are likely to have mortality rate, So for women, the mortality risk goes up if they go from 27 to 37. Their mortality goes up about 10 times. So measure, one thing that you want to do is measure your waist, keep track of it and make sure that, you're losing that visceral fat around that, and eat the food that I just mentioned, and then do the steps. So I'm just going to show you that. So at least and anybody needs slides, I could give it to you. Number two, I'll worry about my health when I get a time because I'm just too busy making money. My wife was saying, she's too busy taking care of me. She's too busy taking care of kids. She's too busy with whatever she's doing, and she ignored it. I'm just talking about most of the women's, or sometimes some of the men's. They said, my health is my last priority because my family needs me, so I'm just going to do all the grunt work and I'm not going to worry about me. And sometimes that's very destructive habit. So make sure, don't fall for it. Just take care of yourself. And, another thing about you can worry about your health later is, if I would have worried about my health later, I tell you, when I had about 11 medicine, I was taking around 55. I'll tell you, I'm 67. I would on maybe 15, 16, 17 medicine, but I took active role and I figured out. And this is something I made it a must that I'm going to take care of my health. That's my first and foremost priority. And make sure you take care of that and do whatever you need to do. Get some coach, get some people who could hold you accountable and all that thing. And another myth people have is, you know what? I can sleep this weekend and get my sleep back. Like, we have a body clock called circadian rhythm. So if you do not follow that rhythm, you will not get a refreshing sleep. And I wear this ring that's called Aura Ring. I'm just showing you all that stuff. I have this Aura Ring. I wear that. It really tracks my deep sleep, REM sleep, and gives me a sleep score and all that thing. And some of you guys may have watches and all that thing. It does that. And why do they call the night shift a morgue shift? They say, it's a morgue shift. Because the most destructive habit people have is staying up late at night. Or people who worked in a third shift. They are reducing their life by 10 years. They're, what if they were going to live up to 80? They're cutting down 10 years of life. So sleep, you can never catch up on the sleep because, there's so much book and all that thing written on it. So make it a must that you should go to sleep between 9:30 and 10 and wake up, maybe 5 or 6 o'clock. We call it waking up in Brahma Muhurat. That's why they call it Brahma Muhurat, right? Because that's where the highest positive energy there. You could do meditations, planning, gratitude journal, and all that stuff. Another thing is, as I said, when you wake up in the morning, your bile production is the highest from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. And what happens if we sleep late and eat late? So when we wake up in the morning, we're not hungry. Our clock is almost off. So when our bile production is the highest, we don't even eat anything. We drink coffee and donuts and all that thing. Extremely acidic and not very healthy, as I mentioned it to you. And what happens to all digestive juice? It's ready to digest all the good food. We don't eat it. And then, we eat a little bit lighter lunch. Some people skip breakfast and eat a huge dinner at nighttime where there is no bile production available for your food to be digested and absorbed in a small intestine. The bile juice is extremely important because unless and until your food is alkaline when it enters into your intestinal things, it's not going to absorb all the nutrients. It's not going to absorb any fats because fats to be absorbed, you need going to need bile. And why do you need fats? For the hormones. And most of us have hormones, and a lot of people have hormonal disorders, hormonal problems. Some of the women's are not even able to conceive the kids nowadays. They're having a hard time with kids. And so bile secretion is really extremely important. So that's why the healthiest meal that you could eat in the morning is salad. It takes about 4 hours to digest. It's water rich, nutrient rich, and fiber rich, and extremely alkaline. And you could eat as much as you want and it will be full because your bile production is the highest. And I usually eat about 3 or 4 times a week. I would have salad in the morning. So the function of the bile juice is processed fats. As I mentioned it to you, you eat late at night, your food is not going to get absorbed. You're not going to absorb fats because all the food that goes in your intestine is not emulsified and it's not neutralized with acid. So you're not going to absorb all the nutrients. It also detox your heavy metals. It kills bad bacteria and maintains a balance. And bile is also again 73% water. So you need to keep drinking water. So as I mentioned it, if you sleep late, that's the most destructive habit anyone can have. If, this is one of the take home habits that I tell everyone to do is stop eating late at night. Finish your dinner between 3 and 5. And if that's too early, finish it as early as possible, 6, 7. I would say, even that's late. And, eat light in the evening, make 50% of your evening meals fruits and 50% of the cooked food. It's very healthy because, that way also you're adding fibers. Because fruits have a lot of fibers and it's really good. Fruits are really good source of energy too. And it's easy to digest. So, I tell people to avoid fruits in the morning, eat fruits in the evening and salad in the morning. So that's why I'm just want to make sure that you eat smart. Like I was mentioning it to you about the previous slide, eat smart. So look at the hepatic, our liver system is so complicated. You see this bile juice coming in from here, and then it just opens up at the junction of stomach and your duodenum. That's where the bile juice comes in. So all this acidic thing coming from your intestine gets alkaline and then everything gets absorbed. So that's how it works. And then it turns your pH to very neutral or alkaline. And that's how your food get absorbed. It's not what you eat. It's what you absorb. It's what your body can use it. Otherwise, it's just going to go through your system and you're going to just throw it all out in the morning. Another thing is, I tell you, I had a fatty liver disease. So I'm just talking about liver health as I'm talking about this. And in my program, I tell people how to get rid of the gallstones before somebody's gallbladder stop working and then, they have to remove it. I must have through about 30 to 40,000 gallstones in last 4 or 5 years. No more fatty livers, no more dark circles. My memory used to be so bad. So no more, I have an excellent memory because no more fatty livers and all that thing. So make sure when you eat late at night, you're going to have a gallstones. When you have a lot of stress, you're going to have a gallstones. If you're not drinking a lot of water, you're going to have a gallstones. So, I have another presentation that I did it about a few months ago, just on liver health. So I just said enough of things. I want to ask, what are some of the things that you have heard, and what are some of the myths that you have, and what are some of the takeaways? So I want to just turn it over to you guys, because I'm here to answer any of your questions and concerns. You could unmute yourself. So I'm going to just enjoy water for my throat. Deepak, any questions? Damini Ben?
Well, mine is a more complicated system because I'm a transplant patient since 20 years.
Yes.
And I have to have steroids, immunosuppression, anti-rejection, blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, medication, and insulin. I think more on my health we can discuss once I get my latest blood report, which should be by Thursday. I don't mind sharing it with you. Looking at that, most of the questions, or most of the items which you mentioned just now, you will know from the report where and what adjustments need to be done. Because as you say, it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. So what I absorb, that will show up in my blood and urine report, which I do it every 3 months because I'm a transplant patient.
Yeah, excellent. And, you brought it up. As I covered earlier, that it's not a cookie cut approach. Everybody has a unique situation, unique health, and that's why you really need to get educated about your health. So I'll reach out to you, Deepak, one of these days, and then we'll have a long chat. So let's see, myth number 3: if you exercise and eat well, you'll never get sick. Who has heard this? I've heard this. Say, if you exercise and eat well, you will never get sick.
Yeah, you hear this, but it doesn't imply everywhere in the country that you live. When you go from US to India and you eat well, but you still don't have proper health over there.
Correct. I agree with you. And I used to do that. I used to exercise. I used to eat well, but I got sick. Because one of the things that I did not realize, I never detox my body. I never alkalize my body. And if you don't detox your body, you don't clean your body, you take away the acid waste from your body. You don't put the food that your body needs, like a lot of fibers and a lot of nutrients and all that thing that your body is craving for. I had a friend who just had called me that somebody he knew of it. He used to do 5 days a week exercise. He used to eat well, and he was in his late 40s. And he said, I was just so shocked that he died in his sleep with a stroke. And they couldn't figure it out why this happened. And I pretty much know that why this thing happens is because if you don't take care of really getting all the waste out from your body, not managing stress. A lot of people have stressful life. They don't manage stress. They don't get good sleeps and all that thing. I mean, your body is not going to like it. And sometimes some people just have a massive heart attack and they never wake up. So make sure, you really look at check engine sign in your body. If you're getting sluggish, if you're lacking energy, you always have a mental fog, and all those signs coming in, you need to really look into that before, something really bad happens.
A question?
Yes.
So, in all your info which you mentioned, I mean, I'm talking to you first time on in a seminar. So your stress is more on being alkaline, and that's what I heard about 3-4 years back. In this last 3 years, a year before now,
correct,
I was drinking a lot of apple cider vinegar from Bragg's, that Bragg company.
Correct.
Yellow label.
Yes.
Apple cider vinegar, I used to have it in the morning, like 1 teaspoon or like 3 teaspoons. Gradually went up to like 10 teaspoons. But then initially it was creating acidity. Then it went down. Then a lot of other issues started coming up. So bottom line question is that apple cider vinegar good to drink early in the morning with hot water?
It's very acidic. So I usually do not recommend people who have, like, you have a lot of health issues and all that thing. I don't recommend people. I would just tell people to just have a lemon water, because lemon water is extremely alkaline, and drink lemon water with straw. And it's very refreshing and it detoxes pretty well. So I recommend not
so,
have
so here is my thing that you won't believe this. I'm a complicated patient as it is. Nothing new to me. But when I drink anything with lemon, yellow lemon, that gives me a little bit of acid or a little bit of nausea, a little bit of cold symptom over there. When I drink with lime, the green lime, with my green tea or just regular temperature water, it turns out to be a lot better, which I've been having it since last 10 years. Any reason for that?
No, like I tell you, my sister Sonal, right? She heard it from somebody that fenugreek or methi, why call it methi? It's very good, right? So she started having methi, and then you know what? Her blood pressure shoot up, and she couldn't figure it out, right? Why my blood pressure? So she met her doctor Anil Bhai, or whatever her doctor is, Anil Babu in India. She said, why are you taking methi? Because that's going to raise your blood pressure. I take methi and nothing happens to me. So, everybody's body is unique. And if the lime works, lime is also good. So, just take lime.
Okay.
You have to try something. So that's why whatever I said, it's not a cookie cut approach.
Yeah, I understand.
So how do you create toxins? Remember, I'm talking about toxins, and I'm talking about detoxing and cleaning your body filters and all that thing. Number one cause of people's sickness, that's up there, number 1 and 2, lack of sleep and stress, period. And, I've talked to so many people, really take care of stress. If it's the stress is coming from your relationship with your kids, relationship in the business partnership, relationship with your wife, relationship that you have with yourself. Work on it. Get coaching. I tell you, I tell you, I've been in this coaching with my mental health because I've taken my family for family counselings and all that thing 35 years ago. Was my family messed up? Are we bad family? No. I realize we need someone who is expert in that area. They could help us and help us as a family. And because of my proactivity in this area, my relationship with myself is really, really nice. I really love myself. Without saying anything to that, self-love is the first and foremost. Second thing, I really have a great relationship with my kids and wife. And when I was about 12 years ago, I couldn't say that. I didn't have that great relationship, but I had to work on it. So if you really take care of stress and lack of sleep, most of your problem with health will disappear. So here, I recommend people to do whatever they need to do. And then I help through detox and cleanse and taking care of the acidic lifestyle. So that is my program that I do for like 4 weeks. And then that's where people go through that. Like one of my clients, Damini Ben, was there. She just dropped off. She had gone through that. So, I told you about my story, right? I'm a 55-year-old when I had this problem. I'm a vegetarian. I had a good lifestyle. I never drank alcohol. Well, I shouldn't say I never drank alcohol. I drank alcohol for a couple of years in my 20s, and then I quit. No smoking. I'm not a party guy. Why did all this disease creep up on me? Any clue? Here's the clue. This is the answer. So I had depression. So I was on Selexia, Zoloft, or Prozac. I had mood disorder, so I was on Wellbutrin. I had acid reflux, so I was on Prilosec or Pepsid. I had gout, so I was on allopurinol. I had arthritic knee issues, and on and on and on. I was on Ambien. So many. I was on Lipitor. And I had to really say, that I need to take care of myself. Doctors couldn't help me. I used to go to my doctor. My blood report used to come normal. And my doctor, you said, well, abhi tu buddha ho gaya. You have become an older person. So it's normal. It's going to happen. Don't expect you to be 30 years old. So those things happen, and I didn't buy into that. And I really transformed my health. So, what I did is I woke up and started doing the things that needed to be done. And then I'm going to tell you what did I do. I started detoxing. I went to a place where they do a live blood, and they really look at the quality of your blood under microscope. And when they looked at my blood under the microscope, the quality of my blood was so bad that he said, no wonder you have no energy. And we cleaned up my diet. We cleaned up a lot of things, and I started having energy. And I also do the same thing. I also do a live blood draw for anybody who goes through my program and want to come to my home. I have a microscope that does that. So it really shows how healthy is your liver, your kidney, and all the other functions of the body. And then the first week, what happens is I put people through some sort of a fasting, whether it's a juice fasting or lemon water fastings, or maybe one meal fasting, depending on, again, as Deepak had mentioned, we are all unique. So I put people through several ways of detoxing their body by taking away some sort of a food that's going to heal their body and putting them on more of a hydrating diet. I usually do, for me, I always do lemon water fast. Or like Deepak says, lemon doesn't agree, so we do a lime water fast or things like that. And that way you give your body a chance to throw out all the acid and you start taking your body into alcohol. Next week, what happens is I start cleaning gallbladder, liver, kidney, your colon, your intestine, and all your internal organs. So that you go to second week of program. And after that, I just, simplify it and tell you what food you should be eating and what food you should not be eating in the next 2 weeks. And then, you are just on your own. So, it's a systematic way to really get rid of all the poisons from your body. So your organs start functioning, like gallbladder, liver, lymphatic system, and, entire digestive system. I'm going to have a 5-day challenge that I'll be sending it like you got it through that. And I'll be covering a lot of topics. So if some of you are not able to even join this 5-day challenge, I'll be sending as my videos to people and their email, so people could really see that where I'm going to just talk about one day. I'm going to just talk about mental health, physical health, and all that stuff. So I'm going to go through that. And any one of you need to get some more information, because I write blogs and I do Facebook lives and I do. So you could join in and just tell me. I'll put you on that. so you'll get it. And just wanted to say thank you. Any questions?
Not from my side generally, but I'm leaving for India on Monday, June 6th, and I'll be back end of July. But I can still follow you from there, even if it's day or night, don't matter.
Yeah, call me and I'll go through your report and all that thing.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I'll give you a call sometimes over this weekend or maybe next week, and then I'll spend about an half an hour to go through all that stuff, and then I could give you my recommendation that you could do when you're in India.
Yeah, yeah, that's very good.
Needs these presentations or something like that, feel free to reach out to me and I'll send any information. Anybody wants to talk to me privately, here's my informations with my email and phone number. You could visit my website, rajeshchotalia.com, and you'll get some articles on spiritual health, mental health, your hormonal health, your digestive system health. And I've written so many stuff on that will benefit you. So you could always go to some of my social media things. And wishing all of you good night.